Hey, what's up guys, it's I, Mark Yoon, and today I'm bringing you another hopefully exciting video. So what I want to talk to you about today is actually something that we've talked about behind the scenes a lot, but like we haven't actually brought to the forefront, and that is how companies make certain decisions when it comes to gaming. In particular, we're going to be talking about Hwang Seong Gyeong in this video, so this is just going to be him used as a benchmark or an example for how they see things or how they really deliberate and come up with their ideas and release schedules and things like that. So I hope you stay tuned to the end of the video. So just to get started, I actually wanted to show you, well, let's wait to show you that. I want to talk a little bit first about Hwang in particular. Now, he actually is a character who was the main hero of the first Soul Calibur game, Soul Blade, or Soul Edge rather, in Hong Kong and in South Korea because of the history that they have with Japan. They didn't want to have a main character that was Japanese, which was Mitsurugi, especially a samurai, because of like what's happened in the past and recent past too. So they went with Hwang Seong Gyeong as the main hero. Now this trickled in through the rest of the series until he kind of got put to the back burner when Hong Yoon-song took over for him. There were several different like appearances that he made, such as like the assassin, which was like used his style and everyone kind of thought that it was him. But today I want to go into a little bit a quote especially about like why that definitely was him. But coming up with character designs is probably like the most interesting aspect of gaming that you can get into. It's like you have to tell a story through the character's actual design. So it's you can't just make them like a cool looking character and then not have their backstory revolve around reflection of their character design. It's just, it doesn't work. Same thing with comic books, same thing with movies. You have to tell a story through the character and then through their behavior, like body language and such, and then through the story. The story is actually the last part that tells the actual story. So when we're talking about someone specifically like Hwang, he was always like kind of just like a hero type character, like he had that hero's journey and was just there to be relatable pretty much. But with Soul Calibur 6 we saw this like interesting character design, and I thought it was like a new character design too, like him being like this dark hero type. And a lot of people were pretty excited about that, the change. They called him like Bloodborne-esque and whatnot. And I was right there with them. But then like I got this tweet from Hayate Ein on Twitter. And he's somebody who's in the fighting game community specifically for Soul Calibur. And I've interviewed him on this channel before, so you can go look for that. And his tweet reads, "Nicknamed Hero in the Warlike Age in Soul Edge, Hwang now became a masked Justicar. Leaked Soul Calibur 3 concept art shows the idea, however his in-game model does not look as good as his artwork. Lighting him and painting him more dark blue gives him a darker night vibes." And if you see, I'm going to post this picture up on here from his Soul Calibur 3 concept design. They have his like normal concept design, which is like his normal art, and then next to it they have this like superhero-esque type character design. And this just obviously like reflects kind of similarly on how they designed his Soul Calibur 6 counterpart. I'm actually going to show the character designs on screen right now. And the concept actually talks about him being a dark hero who like runs through the night streets or whatever, kind of like a Batman-esque type of analogy. And he does look very similar. So this led me to think, okay, that's interesting. So obviously like Project Soul from now is a different Project Soul from then. So like they might have like some of the data and the files and the character sheets and stuff like that. They just like can't use a lot of stuff because of different engines that were used. But it's interesting because when they knew they wanted to bring Hwang back, right? When they knew they wanted to bring him back, and then they were trying to play around with like his story and the plot, I think they went back to the drawing board, because they obviously like the character design is so similar and the concept is so similar to this like superhero like type thing that it's not really a coincidence, right? So you can tell that they used it as a basis. Actually, in some of the Soul Calibur 6 design sheets, it looks really, really close to that Soul Calibur 3 design sheet, until we get like the, you know, the hat with the feathers and all that stuff. There's a couple designs in there that look like strikingly similar to that. So it's weird, it's cool actually that they went back to the drawing board to try and redesign this character from the ground up and went with like his secondary character design as opposed to the one that they eventually went with in Soul Calibur 3. Because it is an interesting story, but then it's like, it's even crazier than that. Because it's like, okay, now we're going to have this superhero who works behind the scenes and through the night and stuff. And we're bringing this character back. The whole plot of like Season 2 seems to like revolve around him. And the future of the franchise story going into Soul Calibur 7 seems to revolve around him doing all this stuff behind the scenes. We got like his teacher working with Zasalamel, and they're like hunting down the shards, and they're going up against like Ishka Akt and the rest of the Akatsuki from Soul Calibur, the Swords and Shepherds. All of this like streamlined to him being the hero that runs during the night, right? The hero behind the scenes, the one that's actually trying to like push the plot forward. So how much of the story was inspired after they went back to the drawing board to come up with this new Hwang Seong Gyeong character design? I say new in quotes because like it's obviously like clearly from the secondary character design sheet from Soul Calibur 3. So their thought process is like kind of grasping at straws at times, but then like I don't know how a smaller dev team like Soul Calibur, I know some of you in the comments say, well, they're not small. They're smaller compared to like the Tekken team and stuff, I can assure you. It's so much so that the Tekken team has to like send members over to help them sometimes to meet deadlines. So small-ish, right? Like grasping at straws, but they're not like going to, they're not focus grouping this. They're not like paying money to survey people to find out like which designs they like better. Like, they try to keep that stuff under wraps, right? It was very much a mystery who the character was going to be, unless you know, cracked the data files and we knew, like, everyone that was going to be in the game. But at that point, like, for a from a layman's perspective, from, like, a casuals, like, that build-up to Hwang was, like, probably the biggest thing that happened in Soul Calibur 6. So how did they come up with the story then after? Did they start with Hwang's design and then take the story from there because him being a superhero just sparked a bunch of ideas? Because I can tell you right now, as somebody who does comic books, when I'm writing my own, because I usually like just draw them, but when I'm writing my own, the ideas that pop into my head sometimes change the entire story. Like, I'll have a set narrative that like my characters are going to go down, who they're going to meet, like whatever, like even the ending, right? And then, like, something will happen, or I'll get a cool idea, or, like, I'll introduce a new character, and their design is a little bit different, and it literally rewrites the entire rest of the story. Then I go back and I start justifying that with new backstories and whatnot by, like, you know, giving new insight to the characters' backgrounds. So it's pretty, like, interesting that they would have, like, a similar medium, and to put this new character out there, give him such a huge trailer and everything. Like, it was almost like an event. Like, we didn't get, like, this big of a reveal for, like, Setsuka or anything like that. Like, this was a huge build-up thing. And, the execution was, like, awesome, right? And they changed the character so much, which we know was, like, justifying, like, opening up a new spot for Hwang Yoon-Song in the next game, or it was supposed to be in Season Pass 3. So, it's, like, it's just crazy to think how they make their decisions like that on the fly, because, like, they have to... In order, I don't think you understand this, like, a publisher, especially a big publisher like Bandai Namco, they have a very strict release window. Like, when you get your budget for your game, they're like, here's the budget for your game, DLC is extra, this is how much we have to use for marketing, and these are the, like, release windows that you have to hit. That's why people are like, well, why do they release games in such a broken state? They've always done it like this. Like, it's just like back in the day, we didn't have DLC or patches to fix our games. Like, if you had a broken game on disc, it would just stay broken forever. But like now, with like the advent of like patches and stuff like that, they have to like work this kind of stuff into their timelines. And even if something gets pushed back to reveal something else, or something takes its spot, there's a timeline window that's already set up by the publisher for the release, so they can talk to their investors about how much money they're going to be making in each quarter of the fiscal year. That's really what it is. Like, the investors want to know, okay, we're putting in this much money for your games or your productions this year. I want to see each quarter how much our ROI, or return on investment, is going to be. So if they're like, okay, quarter one, we have like Tekken 8 coming out. This is how much Tekken 7 sold. This is our projected sales for Tekken 8. This is the budget based on that. This is the release window of that. And then this is when Soul Calibur 7 is going to be coming out. You know, they have it already set up. So it's not just like when the game's done, when it goes gold, that's when they like ship it and that's when they release it. This has already been decided probably while Soul Calibur 6 was still going on. Like when the project was actually greenlit. Probably like maybe 3 years ago when they actually hit like 1 million, which was their goal. So it's just, this video is just about like how interesting but not interesting game development is. Even though things are set in stone, things can change on the fly like this. Because they had to get this stuff approved. Like Bandai Namco probably knew, okay, Hwang Seong Gyeong is going to come out, right? But in which state, like how he's going to play, that's all up to the developer. Any of those kind of changes, like stylistically wise, as long as like the company's making their money, they don't care, like, right? So I don't know. I'm interested to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think it was like super interesting that their Soul Calibur 3 initial design led to this point, which changed the story of Soul Calibur as a whole? Because at that point, like 4 and 5 haven't even come out yet, right? And we know we rebooted from then. So it's just interesting that like maybe if they went with this route and that character design in 3, 4 and 5 would have been totally different, and we would have never ran into the walls that we did and had the series canceled. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below or on the Discord. Any of your thoughts are always welcome. And as always say, guys, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.